Camera number 44 of 365 cameras is the Ricoh XRX multi-program tri-metering system camera. It's a bit of a mouthful, but that's what it says on the camera. And so it's a Ricoh. And to take the Ricoh P zoom lens that I have on this particular camera, we simply push the button and rotate the lens. That enables us just to see a little bit more on the front of the camera. We have two buttons here, an auto exposure lock and a PV preview button, and then a self-timer button. Now all the controls require a battery to operate, so let's just show how we get the battery cover off. Let's just get something we can use to undo the door. It takes 4 AA batteries into the grip of the camera. Now I've already put them in because it just saves a bit of time. Just a note to the user, it's always best to put the very far one in first, because then these ones will go in much easier and we don't have any problems getting them in. So those contacts there line up with those contacts. So let's just put that back into the camera. There we go. So if we now turn our attention to the top of the camera, on the left hand side here is a sliding switch that allows us to choose from 3 of the options with regard to metering. We have average metering, auto backlight metering and spot metering. Now if we lift the panel up, we have other functions that are available to us. The top right hand one is ISO. We can change our ISO, although there is DX coding in that camera. Interval is basically the time for the self-timer. A reset button, which basically takes it back to factory settings, and then plus minus exposure bracketing. Turning to the other side of the camera, if we just turn it on, we can have beeps if we want. We'll have beeps. We have 3 programs here built into the camera. The first one is PA, which is for action, so it's program action, and that's basically where the camera presumably will choose faster shutter speeds to capture action. And then if we move to the next one, we have program. The camera becomes basically a point and shoot. Camera makes all the decisions. And then finally, oops, it's gone off. Finally there's PD, which is programmed for distance, so things like landscapes, where again it will presumably choose larger excuse me, larger apertures. Any of the functions you use the plus and minus. In addition to those 3 programs, we can make it a manual camera where we choose the aperture. Just simply slip the lens off from its P and then put any of those, and then we can change the shutter speed if we want to with the plus and minus. Through the lens, through the viewfinder, there's quite a long list of things along the bottom which are reflected on the top here. The type of metering, whether we've gone into manual, whether we're in program, all of those are featured along the bottom, so it can be a little bit cluttered when you look through the viewfinder. And there's just a little button here which can choose from our film advance, single advance or continuous advance, and we just simply press the button. Okay, so I think that's probably most of the functions, except for one more. There are a couple of other functions in the camera, and if we hold down the plus minus, or the up and down arrow, that's where we choose the aperture, the shutter speed, beg your pardon. But then it has various other functions, L1, L2, L4. These are all low shutter speeds, and bulb. But then beyond bulb we have a very interesting feature I've not seen in certainly not a modern camera, a TV functionality where we can take a picture off or an image off the TV, and there are various settings there, PAL and CRT, and I can't quite see the other one from here. So yes, we can take images. So there's a specific program for that. So let's just put a film through the camera now. So to put the film through the camera, we just press the button and slide it and open the door. One function I forgot to mention, there is a mid-roll rewind function, because the camera will rewind the film back into the canister at the end. So if we put our film in, let's put it the other way. As you can see, it can be quite fiddly to get the canister in, and we have to make sure that it goes under this little leading or leader guide. So hopefully if I've done the job properly, and there we go, that's the film, and we just advance the film on, which is automatically done. Now you'll notice one thing I didn't mention here is a little door that, if we slide open, has some contacts for a flash unit, which I just happen to have, as it turns out. It's the known as the Speedlight PX, and it basically just clips on. There's a little clip here that goes underneath this plastic hole here, and then it just clips on. And now this would normally be down, and the flash wouldn't work, but unfortunately the release is broken, so the flash draws power from the batteries, and it's obviously time it's coming through, so excuse the flash. There we go, and that's the end of the film. I won't rewind the film on, because that will go straight in the canister, and I want to reuse that for another thing, so another time. So that's it really for the Ricoh XRX camera number 44.